Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be potting some succulents to go in my room in a hanging basket, so I thought I'd include y'all in today's little tutorial slash fun potting video. Thanks so much for watching. Alright, so let's get started. Sorry in advance, I have a bird that's really loud in the background. Today we're starting out with 4 succulents. I made this little planter out of a water bottle. I could make a tutorial about how to make recycled planters and hanging planters if you guys want. Just leave a comment down below. I would love to hear because that'd be something I'd love to do for you guys. These are some of the plants mentioned in the video about the carnivorous plant I got, the butterwort plant. I've had these outside for a few days and they're getting a little bit wilty, and that's a great sign that it's time to bring them in because either they're not getting enough water or they're too hot. So I'm going to be putting them inside to see if they fare better. So to get started off, I know that these are echeveria plants. I'm not exactly sure what kinds they are. I do know that this is Rose of Nuremberg, I believe is what it's called, or one of the names that they have for it. This needs a lot more sunlight than it's currently getting, and it's definitely needing some water, as you can see, because the leaves are getting a little bit wrinkled and they're floppy. I want them to be more like this, even more firm than that, but we'll take care of that as we get this potted. So let's go ahead and start out. I do have a drainage hole in the bottom of this, as well as the fact that I can take the top off of it if I want to drain even more. But in this instance, I'm going to be putting some rocks in it at the bottom because I just prefer it that way. It really helps to hold in the soil, and it really helps to kind of like filter the water out. Epic Gardener has a really good informational video about different drainage techniques and how they do and do not work. So I'm going to get started. I'm just going to put rocks because that's my own personal preference. You don't need to. You can put regular soil if you want, and this doesn't even need to have a drainage hole, but I do recommend it because succulents do like well draining soil and they don't like a whole bunch of moisture all the time. So any rocks will do, rocks from your yard or rocks from the store. I prefer the smaller pebble rocks like this. So I also use them to garnish the top of the planter. That is because I don't want fruit flies to breed as easily. Now I'm going to be putting in cactus and succulent soil. You can use a regular trowel, you can use your hands, you can use other little planters to scoop it if you'd like. It's really up to personal preference. Just make sure to wash your hands after you're done gardening, as you don't want anything in the soil to get into your mouth or your eyes or nose or ears or anything important. Remember to just keep some good hygiene practices, especially right now during the coronavirus pandemic. How are you doing through that, by the way? I would love to know. Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear. I've been doing fine. I work part-time, but thankfully my job doesn't involve me being around a whole bunch of people all day. It's nice to have something to do besides staying at home. But when I am home, I have a lot more time to garden, and that's definitely a bonus. So I'm almost to 3/4 of the way to the top of this, and I just want to sort of eyeball it with this. I want it to almost be flush with the rim, because I want it to get ample. I want the plants to get ample sunlight, but I don't want them to be too high up or too low down, because if they're too high up, there's a chance that when you water, the water will go outside the rim and like dribble down everywhere. And if it's too far down, there's a chance that they won't get enough sunlight and or they will drown when you water them. So we want to kind of eyeball it. This looks like it needs another scoop or two before I put these in. Even in the little plastic planters, there is there's a little extra like size that it gives to the plant, because once you take the plant out, the soil is much smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and pat this down just a little bit, not super heavily, because I don't want it to be like super dense, because I still want the plants to be able to root well. I just want to make sure that I'm getting a good starting point for my plants. I'm going to start with this guy. He looks the saddest, so I'm not sure what type this is. I do know it's an echeveria, but I can't tell you what type it is. I will leave some information in the description if I find out, and I'll also leave the link for the Amazon listing for these. I got a special Amazon deal for 12 for, I believe it was 21. Alright, so what I'm going to do, and you don't need to do this, is I'm going to take off the leaves that look like they're not thriving, and you can do that by gently twisting, and they should fall off if they're ready. And I just do this because they're unproductive leaves, and so I don't see a point in having the leaves on there. And this plant is actually growing a pup, if you can see. It's growing a little tiny succulent, and it's also growing another one down here. It's not doing terrible, but the growth of those pups will be stunted if I don't get this back to a better state. I'm gonna go ahead and place this in here, and that is about flush with the pot. I'm not gonna put any more soil currently because I'm waiting to get all of the plants in here so that I can get the soil to go around each of them. This, I think, is called an African aloe, but I'm not entirely sure. Don't believe me on that. Don't quote me on that one. But I've had one of these before, and they didn't do well outside, even though they're supposed to do well in high heat conditions. And so I'm gonna see if it does better inside. I'm not entirely sure. So one of the reasons I use hanging planters is because I have pets. I don't want my pets to be eating my plants because, you know, that can be a toxicity issue, and we definitely don't want my kitty cats to have a bad time. And also, when you hang plants up, you have a lot more room for the plants that can go lower, close to the ground, like in a windowsill. I also like it because it's just like up high and easy to access. You don't have to bend down or anything to get to it. So, and I'm not sure about the toxicity of all of these. I believe this one is animal friendly, but I don't really want to risk it. So, so we have those in there now. Something you can do with all these excess plant parts, like the unproductive leaves that we took off of these plants, is you can put them in a compost pile. I don't have a compost pile started right now, but I am collecting them because I have plans to start one in the future. So I'm gonna put those off to the side. Otherwise, you can just throw them away. Or you can throw them in your yard. They're biodegradable. So, and now I'm going to fill up the remaining spaces around these plants so that they're completely covered in dirt and surrounded by dirt. And there's no right way to do this, and there's no wrong way to do this. Just make sure not to cover the plant entirely. And I usually try to stay right just above where the root starts, so that most of the green portion of the plant is showing. And don't pat down hard around these, just lightly pat just to make sure that it's firm around the plant, but not like hard, and it's not restraining the plant. The other reason that I'm lightly patting down is to make sure there's no spots that I missed and that the plant can like fall through when I water it. This guy looks like he's on edge, but that's really because the root system is kind of like down this direction. So if I flipped him, the roots would be stuck up against the wall, but since he's this way, he looks like he's growing like into the wall, but his root system is actually more like towards the middle. Just thought I'd point that out just in case you guys were wondering why you look so close. Alright, so we got that portion done. Now the next part is optional. You don't need to do this, but I prefer to do this because I would like to start to nip the fungus gnats in the bud if I can. I like to layer those pebbles, the same ones that I put at the bottom of this container for semi-drainage. I like to put those over the top of the soil. It just makes it a little harder for fungus gnats to get into the soil and lay eggs, and when they do lay eggs, to get the eggs to hatch out and escape the soil. So, and this is not an exact science either. Just make sure you're not covering the leaves. I like to get around the base of the plant. And again, any kind of rocks will do. Ooh, another leaf fell off. That means it was weak anyway, so I'm being relatively gentle with these plants. It's another thing. If one of your leaf falls off, it either means that it's ready to make a baby, or it's a weak leaf, or it's overhydrated, so it's got too much water, and so it's become too chunky and needs to drop off. Alright, just a few more rocks and we will be done potting up this plant. Also, sorry if there's lots of wind in this video. I record on my cell phone, and I don't know how well or how much or how little it picks up on wind. So here is our completed little succulent grouping in a hanging planter that I made. Again, if you want a tutorial on how to make recycled planters like this, please let me know. I would love to make a video for you guys. I also have this little leaf here. I know I said that it may have fallen off because it's weak, but you can also try to propagate these. Now, echeveria plants are really hard to propagate, but they tend to like water propagation or the laying flat in soil method, but cover the end where the pup comes out a little bit more than you would a graptosedum type succulent. What do you guys think? I think it looks really cute. Alright all, thanks so much for watching my video. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. I think these will be much happier inside. They are a little wilty and I feel a little bad because they're brand new. But yeah, I'll make sure to leave a link in the description showing you where you can buy these on Amazon. And again, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't like it, and leave a comment letting me know why you liked it or why you didn't like it. I'd love to hear constructive criticism. It helps me out so much, and thanks again for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. See you in the next one.